In the early years of the 20th century, a few motoring types got together and said, you know what, enough of this steam, what we need is gasoline, and for the next 100 years no one really questioned how their cars should be powered. But times, they are a-changing, and we're here in Silicon Valley for what might prove one of the most significant launches of the 21st century, a car that its manufacturer is calling its Model T moment. Having teased us for the past 4 years with a battery-powered Lotus, Tesla is finally debuting the Model S, its first all-new electric car. And it looks, well, kind of ordinary. It's certainly handsome, but if you were designing something very radical, why would you make it look like everything else? There's a bit of Ford, there's a bit of Jaguar, this hood looks like it should hide an engine, there's even a dummy grille. Why? If I bought this car, I'd want to tell the world I was actually a planet-saving revolutionary and not a Wall Street exec. Inside, it's more of the same. Attention focus on this giant 17-inch touchscreen display that controls just about everything. It's based on Android technology. Remember that Google was an early investor in Tesla. There's lashings of dead cow and 5 conventional seats. It's all very inoffensive, which is surely the point. Think about it for a moment. If you're the new kid at school, then it pays to make friends with everybody. Don't put people off with a comedy haircut. But we've been promised that the driving experience will be anything but ordinary. Let's find out. So here we go, Tesla Performance Model, 416 horsepower, 443 pounds-feet of torque. Starting it means foot on the brake, easing off, selecting a gear, that's all fairly conventional, and away we roll. It's incredibly quiet. So the instruction is, get to the stop sign and nail it. It is pretty quick. 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, 90, 100. We're just going to back it off a little bit, dab on the brakes, turn in gently. This is actually part of Tesla's private test track at the moment. That's 80 miles an hour. The centre of gravity in this car is very low thanks to the battery pack down here low in the chassis. So just to give you an impression of just how fast this new Tesla is, we're doing 10 miles an hour and then with a twitch of the big right toe, we're away. It is properly rapid. That's 80 miles an hour, 85, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour and braking before we hit the car in front. The ride quality is actually very good over this particularly rough piece of road. While picking a few creaks up from the cabin, that's one thing Tesla's going to have to be hugely aware of with these early cars. You've got to get the quality right from the off, particularly as a starter. On the highway, of course, there's no engine sound whatsoever, so you start to get attuned more to the noises around you from other cars, a little bit of tyre rumble and a little bit of wind noise which seems to be coming off these pillars, but it's not what you'd call unrefined. Inside, this fascia feels nicely screwed together. It's proper leather and proper carbon fibre, but it's disappointing to see bits and pieces from other manufacturers. These column stalks and cruise control, for example, are from Mercedes E-Class. Nobody's going to feel intimidated getting into this Tesla. Sitting here in the driving seat, it all feels quite ordinary. Then, of course, you nail the throttle. This car is going to carry big speed. Brakes pretty well too. So that was our first brief taste of the new Tesla Model S. What we want to do now is get it back to HQ and give it a full test. But to be honest, today's only been partly about giving guys like me the first taste of the Model S. It's also the day when Tesla delivers its first cars to customers and has a giant group hug.
What the Model S is fundamentally about is breaking that illusion. It's showing that an electric car can in fact be the best car in the world.
Today has been pretty manic, and while 15 minutes of driving and a few first impressions based on 14 years of road testing experience isn't nearly enough for a definitive verdict, we can say this: Tesla is a serious company with some serious players, and while their desire to build the best car in the world does sound a bit arrogant, don't bet against their determination. Right now, the new Model S isn't the best car in the world, but as a statement of intent, it's hugely impressive.